Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back. I'm excited today. I always am every time we get together with her as a psychic medium, a energy healer, but I just learned that she does channeling. A lot of insight can come from that. I'm not even going to explain this. We're going to let her do it. Alisha B joins us once again here on the program. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Super. Yeah, it's great to have you back. And that term channeling, when we hear it, when we say it, we have a view of what it could be in terms of what we've seen on TV and what we've heard. How do you define channeling?
Channeling for me is a continuous flow that you receive a message. It's hard to explain. When you get a flow of information and you know it's not coming from you, it just continues and it's showing you things that showing or telling you things that you never thought of, was never your personal thought. And it just starts coming in and you're seeing events happen or you're seeing changes for people if it's related to a person. If you channel the Akashic records, it could be specific to a person. What I channel is humanity messages. I open myself up for large scale messages that can impact humanity one way or the other. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, I'm going to ask you what you've gotten recently, but I want to share something with you. Years ago, I was doing a morning radio show. I've done many decades. And this one particular one, the woman who's a psychic wanted to come on, and I'm saying this to illustrate what we're talking about. And she would just kind of pester me. I want to come on your show. Can I come on your show? I really didn't know a lot about her. There was other psychics whose names that used to come on, once every couple of months or whatever. And she was like, I'd love to come on. Can I come? Okay, yeah, let's bring her on. Let's have her on. Like 7:30 in the morning, she comes on and says there is something of worldwide major proportions that's going to be life-changing, that is going to happen very, very soon. Got it as a channel. She was feeling it. She needed to say it. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. That same morning, again, this is 7:30 in the morning. That same morning, apparently she proved herself right because something happened at 9/11. It was the morning of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And, for those of us who are skeptical about things, and I get it, I'm skeptical too, didn't even want to have her on. But something told me, yeah, have her on. And she was very insistent. She had things to say. And she somewhat described 9/11 without going there. And I just, I throw that out there, that sometimes you have something and it, unfortunately, she was right. I'm not saying that you're picking up on 9/11 or anything like that. I'm just giving an example of somebody that got something.
Right.
Now you get it. You're not awake when you get it. You're meditating when you get these messages?
Correct. I am a meditative channeler. There are many out there that are what we call vocal channelers. So you can interact with them. Their eyes are open. It's like they're communicating with you, but their voice or the pitch changes, the flow changes, and that's how you know it's a channeler. What I do is I go into a meditative state and receive the same types of messages. I just don't speak it as I receive them.
How do you know who it's for, and how do you know that it's just for, call it humanity?
That would be intention setting. We talk a lot about that. So when I go into the meditative state, for some reason, I never ask about me. I feel like maybe I should just sit down and be like, hey, tell me about me sometime. But in what I want to do is helping a large amount of people on humanity. So when I go into the meditative state, I ask if there's anything that humanity needs to know, anything that's going to impact us as a whole, and get the information that way.
So I'm gonna flip over to meditation because that's how you do it. I hear both ways, and I try to meditate as much as I can, trying to get better at it. somebody told me you need to set an intention. You use that word for a meditation. Then I'll ask others, and they're like, "No, just meditate. Whatever comes to you." Uh, Thoughts on that? I wonder. I wrestle with it.
So it depends on what you're looking for when you go into the meditation. If you're doing a meditation to quiet your mind, to go inside of you, you don't need an intention. You just need to find your space and quiet your mind and help connect yourself to yourself. If you're going in and wanting some kind of information or looking for a message to come out of it, you set that intention when you go in so that the information flowing into you becomes what your intention set to learn from.
That's um that's a great way to look at it because there are times where, and the older I get, and this is even in the last couple of months, I just look forward to, and I do it in the evening, laying on my bed, could be on the couch, and just being quiet.
Yes.
Nothing else. Like last night, I was a little tired, but I was like, I'm not going to do anything. I had a book on manifestation I've been wanting to get to. And I lay down on the couch, cat's here, another one's up here, dog's over here, and I'm just chilling. And I'm like, I can't read this book. I can't focus. I just want quiet. I just want to close my eyes and just think of things. Maybe I'll turn on the TV. No, I didn't want to do that. I couldn't even. Just that moment of peace and maybe some clarity. But I find also if I don't set an intention, sometimes you get the mind, chatter, and
Yes.
and you might feel that you weren't productive in what you're doing.
Yes. That happens a lot. That happens with me too. And what you have to try to do is what I either do is have some form of soft music in the background. So when my thoughts start flooding in, I can redirect my attention to that music so it overcomes the thoughts.
Hmm.
Or as the thoughts roll in, I'm like, oh, nope, that's me thinking. Let me think on my breathing. And I pull my breathing down to my heart center. And that helps pull the thoughts out of my mind and just opens me up.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's why they say breathing is so important in so many different ways. Side note on the music, I would assume it needs to just be nondescript music and something in the background. Don't put on songs because your brain's going to focus on the lyrics, the images, the beat, and all of that.
Then you're gonna start like, dancing. No,
Right,
you
right.
want to kind of that what do they call like spa music, that
Yeah.
very this instrumental background. Nature sounds are great.
Mm.
It's a great connection, one to ground yourself and clear your mind. And then just instrumental, something that you just feel calm in, not one that's very aggressive in its tone, but a soothing sort of instrumental music. Yeah.
So, what have you gotten lately for all of us? A message for all of us that during a meditation, anything that comes to mind. And again, disclaimer: we're not holding you to this. Anything could change tomorrow in terms of the energy, life changes, everything.
Yes.
There's always things going on. Sometimes it comes to fruition, sometimes it doesn't. But what are you getting?
So the biggest one I got was actually back in October. And this is one I think a few weeks ago I barely touched on as far as a geographical changes of the year 2025. Um, it was back in October, and what I got was one geographical changes, but I was seeing events that are now starting to happen. Um, Earthquakes are more often. They gave me specific locations to keep an eye on. Flooding that's been happening. They gave me, again, specific locations that it was going to occur. And it's not to destroy humanity, it is to shift humanity into a higher timeline. So we're working to shift and ascend instead of being trapped under a system that controls what we do on a daily basis. We're meant to take control ourselves and be connected to, God, to source. And what we're doing right now is allowing other people to dictate how we work. And so I saw it's just so hard to speak on it because, again, like you said, I don't want people to hold me to it. This was read in October. This is now January. If I went and meditated on it, it could be a totally different message. But back in October, I was informed that the fault lines would be more active. The one I didn't even know we had one in my area in Tennessee, Alabama, that fault line is said to become active this year from that message in October. The one in California as well. And then the flooding that happened in Europe, I was notified of before it occurred in the Poland area. And so I saw those things happening. And when it came to me, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, this is my brain. And then it started flashing up on my feed. The news started reporting it. And it was just wild and crazy after that.
Wow. Gotta ask you because it's been so impactful lately. But did you get a message about the wildfires?
Not the fires. I had talked about this with some of my other metaphysical friends. What I got about was the lower California portion, so LA South in that area. I'm not from California, so excuse my geographical commentary, but from LA and South, that would have a flood impact at some point this year. And so when the fires came, to me, Spirit came and said, look, we're protecting them. This is a horrible tragedy, and I'm not negating the tragic events that happened or the loss of life, and I feel for them. But Spirit showed me it was a protection because when that water comes, there's no stopping it. You can't run from it. You're not going to get out in time. And so I felt more like an alignment for protecting the people, but also working to help humanity evolve.
How would the wildfires protect in that regard?
It moved them out of the way, so got them out of the locations that were going to flood and shifted the populace to other locations. Again, I know there was loss of life, and I'm not saying there wasn't, and not everybody made it out unscathed. But what they were showing me is almost a quick, kind of like you see in what was the movie, The Day After Tomorrow, the big push of water. It's going to be similar to that, and there's not going to be time to move, to evacuate, to get out because it's going to happen quickly due to either a volcano or an earthquake, which now we have a new active volcano, submarine volcano, and that one, I was like, oh, that's kind of aligning with what they told me. But the fires are a way to get them to where out of the flood zone. I don't even know if it's flood zone, but this is the kind of message I got, out of the flood zone so that they can still be here.
Well, a lot of the fires were along the Pacific Coast Highway. And that's very surprising because I was looking at some drone shots yesterday, and like I didn't know they were that close to the coast of what you're referring to. But it also makes me wonder that I don't even want to say this, but the flooding that you're referring to would have to be reasonably soon because people are going to start rebuilding within a year. Call it that. For some, it'll take longer, of course. So it would have to be reasonably soon. And then are we talking, when flooding, like tidal wave, tsunami, that kind of thing?
It appeared yes, but then I learned a little more about California and their water control, I guess, from north to south California, reservoirs, things of that nature. And when you put all the pieces together, when an earthquake occurs, if it impacts more of the northern state, it's going to flood the south. Like that's how their water system is set up. The volcano where it's located is in the northern area of California. If that were to erupt, which I guess they are now projecting it will sometime within the next year to, I don't know, year-ish, from what I heard, would break down and flood that southern portion.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do you get this from? Is it your spirit guides providing you this insight?
Sometimes it is. This specific one, I know we are hearing a lot about aliens and things of that nature now, was a celestial being. I don't know specifically where they were from. It was a reach out message to just bring awareness. but it can be my guide. It can be my angels. They'll do what download that information, kind of like a computer. And it's also just any higher being. There are people that channel dragons. Dragons, their energy and their existence is real, especially in our metaphysical world. If you think about it, how can we think up something so magical and mystical when we think about the human brain? We had to have interacted at some point, and we're just bringing those past memories to the now. And so it can be a host of different energies and different beings that we channel.
Let's go basic for a minute.
Mhm.
Let's say somebody wants an answer and they could meditate on it. And it's my belief that everything we need to know, it's within us. You just got to ask for the answer. How do you hear it? You meaning everybody. How do anybody hear an answer? You ask, you need an answer. How do you get it?
I had someone recently ask me that question, actually, and they are trying to meditate and get the connection to have that communication with their spirit team. And what I like to tell people is when you quiet down and have a random topic pop in your head or comment or thought, if you had not previously been thinking about that, that's your team coming in. That's your team throwing that and being like, hey, communicate back with me. Let me give you this. But instead, sometimes when we get that message and it's an odd message, we're like, that was weird. Like, I don't know why that came up. Instead of doing that, thank them. Thank you for that. What does that mean? What do I need to know from this? And that's the kind of good way to get the ball rolling.
So those random thoughts that pop in your head aren't random.
Not always.
Not
No,
always.
no.
Interesting. I'll be honest. I do this a lot, and I look for an answer. Like I was car shopping. Nobody ever wants to do that, but I need to get another car. And had one idea, but then they presented another one, and everything looks good. Looks good. And I asked for the answer, and I need to make a decision very soon. And it seems like it's the right decision. I'm sitting with it. It's a bigger investment. I'm sitting with it. It's like, it feels right. But then I also second guess. Are you sure? And I guess we all do that. But I try to do that with all decisions. Anything I got, I try to meditate on it. What's it feeling like? And it just the bad answer or the not the right answer just feels heavy. Just like
It does.
But my biggest challenge, and I'm sure others experience this, is how do you get out of your head? Like choice A and choice B, choice B, it might feel heavier, and maybe it's not the one I really think is the right choice. But how do I get out of my head that I'm gravitating away from this choice over here because I don't like the choice anyway? It could be the one that's a bad choice to start with, coming on a download. But how do you separate that?
So one thing you talk about is the energy you get from it. You're not using that specific word, but that feeling, that heaviness, that is part of getting that message. You're receiving that message that this is heavier, this is lighter. Lighter normally means a better decision, a better way to go, where the heavy means it's probably not the best for you, but can your team manage it with you? 100%. They can manage any decision you make. It's just what you need to learn is better for you. And so listening to when something feels lighter or it just resonates with you and inside you're like, yeah, that's the choice is a good thing to do. And our brains like to say, are you sure you're making that right choice? Our ego likes to come into play and play devil's advocate, so to speak. And you have to, like we discussed, take that moment and just take a breath. Let your mind clear, take that breath, and then see what you get. See how it feels. Instead of leading with, oh, I wanted this in the first place, so it may feel heavy, but that one is a better status, or it'll make me look cooler, or I'll be with the popular crowd.
Right.
We gotta have to let those go and just really, really get deep in what feels better.
Yeah. And it's almost like you need to clear your mind, like a clear slate. and push all that, like you just said, well, it would look cooler in this car, but then there's, this one makes him, got to get rid of all of that and just get what's meant for you, what you should be hearing from, and should you say, all right, spirit guides, I need an answer. Please send me an answer. Should we do that?
I would say yes. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. Just recently, I asked, and this is just an example of how I get the connection and the responses. I asked my spirit team, am I doing the right thing with bringing my healing to humanity? Do I need to go another direction? That was my question. And then I returned with, if I am doing the right thing, show me threes. Show me threes. And so that was right before bed. I woke up the next day, and for the first 3 hours I was awake, I got threes repeatedly in different numbers I looked at, and I was like, okay, they're really telling me this, I'm on the right path. And so if I would have been on the wrong path, they would show me a different consecutive number system, like maybe 2s or 11s. And that would be like, okay, partially on the path and need to refigure out what I'm doing. So you can ask your team for specific types of messages to either confirm or tell you to go a different direction. You can ask them to get involved specifically so you know what you're looking for. I will say a lot of times they like to give you the message for those that are not completely in tune through music. Everybody listens to music constantly, and you're going to hear that one lyric that's like, oh, that applies to my life now. Like, how weird is that? That's your message. It's not just weird. It's not a coincidence. It's a synchronicity, and that's them speaking with you.
Interesting. So I never thought of asking it to be revealed with what you want. Like show me the number 3. I need to, whatever it might be. Going to try that. And on the music side, but I've played music on the radio since I was a kid, like professionally. So that's my thing. That's how I get many downloads, and I've gotten countless, and they're very specific. I know it showed up as an answer for me because I believe universe says, yeah, he hears things in music. We need to send it to him that way.
Yes. Whatever you're connected with, they're going to send it through. Those connected with music, you'll get it through music. If you're connected with, like, going on Facebook or Instagram or, through videos, they're going to give it through the videos. The easiest way for them to tap in is to go the way that you are commonly using as a communication. They're going to go that way first.
But it's also being open to it. Let's say it is music. You're driving in your car, you got traffic, car, somebody talking to you, blah, 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 all that. The song could be playing with the lyrics that is the message for you, but you're not even picking up on it because you're just, doing life.
Yes.
You got to listen. Like literally, you got to listen.
Literally, yes. And that's where we talk about, just taking those moments to just open your mind, allow it. I know we've talked about this before. We're just so busy as a society. We always have something to do. We always have somewhere to go. We have, meetings to attend. Our schedules are full, and we're missing the opportunity to hear and speak with our spirit team because we're not giving ourselves a break.
Which is why I now look forward to doing nothing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Never thought I would say that, but yes.
Same thing, but doing nothing is doing something.
Yes.
Can't forget that. Alisha, how do we find you? If somebody's got questions, they want you to be the conduit for the answer. How do they find you?
Best way is insightpsychics.com/Alisha. You can also find me on Google and Yelp, Alisha B. Just Google those. I'll pop up. My phone number for my business line, which you can text or leave a message, is 256-469-8111.
Thank you for today, and most importantly, thank you for making all of this clear and easy to understand. You have a superpower there, and
thank you.
You just convey it with passion, believability, and I don't doubt you for a second.
Thank you.
But it's so clear. Like I got my answer. I have my marching order for what I need to do, especially asking for certain signs and things like that. A lot of people don't know how to do that in terms of how you do it. So it's super cool. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. We'll catch up soon. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.